Wherever you are joining us across the world, I want to welcome you to this beautiful webinar. Let me have more emojis. Let's connect. Let me have more emojis. Thank you. Good afternoon, um, Nigeria, and good day wherever you are joining us across the world. Absolutely. So what do we have here today is AI Ready School webinar. And today we're going to be presenting to you a blueprint for AI-powered teaching and learning. My name is Dr. Success Ojo, and I am the CEO and co-founder at GMindAI. The truth is the future of education will not be defined by tools, but by the infrastructure beneath it. That means infrastructure that powers the tools. Once again, good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining us wherever you are joining us this beautiful day. We've actually seen a lot of tools, and when we go online, we see different tools that can help you to do this, that can help you to do that. But one question should be at the back of our hearts, and that question is the data we're putting in all these tools, who owns them? What's the level of privacy do you have on those tools? What controls do you have? I want to encourage you today that before you jump on the next AI tools, have that in mind. What is the core problem that the education in Africa is facing today? Although this is common across the world, but today our focus is going to be on Africa. What is slowing our school down? If we look at it, teachers burnout. 20 to 30 hours per month spent on prep, grading, on administrative tasks. You will see every month, every week, every year, we continue to work on the same thing. What about if we have a system that will enable us to cut down our prep time and at the same time enable us to be able to have a kind of repository that doesn't make us to always start from scratch every time? What about institutional knowledge base? When teachers leave the school, expertise disappear. What about if you have a repository or a system that allow you to institutionalize knowledge? And that would definitely prevent knowledge loss. What about uneven student outcome? You know, education right now has become lottery. When good teachers leave the school, what happened to the students? The students greatly feel it. You realize that the year that they have great teacher, the students experience learning differently. And what about the year when they are left with the teacher that is available in their class? What happened? They'll still remember that teacher that left. What about if there is a way we can capture the knowledge of every teacher that walk into your school in such a way that no matter the teacher that the teacher has, the student, they're actually going to have a good learning year. And that is what we are discussing today. We don't want to solve this and make AI to become a luxury, but we want to present AI to you today, not just as a luxury to have, but as an enabler, as a necessity for whole school. What we're talking about today is we want to prevent a shift in Africa. If you look at most tools, they are built for high resource environment without taking into consideration of the reality of what is happening in Africa. We continue to discuss every day that we have these infrastructural gaps in Africa. But do you know that if we wait to when we solve all the infrastructural gap in Africa, we will definitely not be able to catch up with the world. What will happen to Africa? We'll be greatly left behind, and we cannot afford that. Africa cannot depend on systems that are not built for their reality. Systems that are expensive, online only, or misaligned with their local curricula. We cannot afford to continue to jump or run after all shining object that is not built for the reality of our classrooms, that is not built for the reality of our environment, that works with the reality of our school. The truth is we cannot wait for us to have internet everywhere, or for everybody in Africa to have access to internet. We cannot wait for until when we solve the power issue in Africa. We cannot wait until when every teacher, every learner have access to desktop, to laptop, or even to tablet. We cannot wait. We just have to make sure that we build our systems to align with the reality of our situation. Why we continue to believe that our infrastructure situation in Africa will change, but we don't have the time to wait. What we are presenting to you will enable you as a school to deploy your own AI, to align it with your local curricula, operate in low bandwidth or, if possible, offline environment. It will enable you to empower every teacher and all your learners. And most especially, it will enable you to retain ownership of your data and knowledge. I think that sounds very interesting. What we are introducing to you today is what we call GMIND Developers App, which I call the next revolution in education AI infrastructure. Permit me to tell you that this is the first in Africa, and if possible, the first of its kind in the world, whereby we put power in the hands of the school owner to own their own AI that they can build and deploy within minutes, or let me say within weeks or days, depending on how you want it to be. Connect your curricula, your lesson plan, your policy, set your own guardrail, generate a private AI brain for your school, and at the same time, provide for your teaching environment 40 plus AI tools that are aligned with your data, with your philosophy, how you want things to be run in your school, and how you want AI to serve you. We cannot afford to expose our learners to AI that we expose them to danger. And that's why we want you as a school owner to engage, to provide AI for your learners that will make them to be able to use AI responsibly and ethically. Offer personalized learning in 10 plus African languages, and above all, ensure long-time continuity and sovereignty. Today, we present to you the blueprint for AI-ready school. For you to become an AI-ready school, what are those things you need? You need an AI policy framework. How you want AI to serve you, how you want AI to serve your own ecosystem within your school, the students, your learners, and your teachers. If possible, you can bring your parents along. And for you to do this, you actually need an AI policy framework local to your environment. You also need to teach your teachers alongside as they adopt AI. And I have a good news for you, that GMindAI, we provide teacher training as you adopt our platform. We support you as much as possible to make this a reality in your school. You also need to be able to integrate an AI infrastructure so that you will be able to onboard your teachers, onboard your learners, continue to build a robust AI repository data that grows alongside as the user engage your platform. You also need data-driven improvements. We provide you access to be able to build your own AI with your school data. Have a full control. I love to have control. And that is the control we are actually going to give you as you come along. GMindAI will make this simple, scalable, and sustainable. Somebody will say, what about if I stop my subscription? You have your access to your AI for life. So that means whatever you put on your AI, you have access to it. It might not work if you don't power it with the right funding, but whatever you have on the platform, you have access to it for a lifetime. Africa will not catch up if we did not stand up today to take control and lead the change. And I want to say, Nigerian schools, it's high time we lead Africa by architecting our own learning system. We cannot afford to use the old method. It has to be AI powered. but we don't want to just flow with the blues. We want to make sure that as we go along building, architecting our own AI learning system, it is also with much needed guardrails. The question I want to put on my mind today is what happens when every teacher has a personal AI co-teacher and every student has a 24 hours AI tutor. Aligned with your school curriculum and powered with your school own knowledge. And that's the future that GMindAI is building. And we want you to come along with us as a partner. We want to work with your school. We want to help your teachers to be able to cut the prep time. We want you to hone the knowledge, the brilliancy of every teacher that walk in and out of the door. We don't want you to continue to reinvent the wheel every time teacher comes in and comes out. We know the reality that a lot of teachers, they are moving from school to school. But how can you ensure that you are able to capture and build your own school knowledge? The best way is for you to have a system. When you have a system that works, you will not be afraid as a school owner who stays or who leaves. You will not be afraid how your students will be supported because you already have a system that works. If you look at the tools and the infrastructure that we have for you on GMindAI, they are such that will enable you to be able to run a 21st century learning environment that is AI powered, that is 24/7 access, and at the same time, that is accessible to learner in a different way. And what is that different way? In a personalized format. Today, we're going to be showcasing what we have for you. For those of you that you have not seen what we have on GMindAI, we're going to start by showing you what we have on GMindAI. And we show what we have for you on GMIND Developers Apps. And we want to believe that this future that we're building and we have you as a partner. We serve you not just because it is necessary, but because it is a must for you to build and be part of the next chapter of African educational AI infrastructure. And on this note, I introduce to you the GMIND Developers App, which is an infrastructure for intelligent teaching and learning. Thank you so much for listening to me.